Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। ISKCON फाउंडर आचार्य बीबीटी फाउंडर आचार्य सेवर ऑफ द होल वर्ल्ड शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र शत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तनम की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम पदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 11, the Transcendental Qualities of Vritrasur, text number 23. Kindly repeat after me. Oh, Hare Krishna. Traivargikayas vigatamasmat पतिर्विदत्ते पुरुषस्य शक्र ततो नुमेयो भगवत्प्रसादो यो दुर्लभो किंचन गोचरोऽन्यै त्रैवर्गिकायास्विघातम् अस्मत् पतिर्विदत्ते पुरुषस्य शक्र ततो नुमेयो भगवत्प्रसादो यो दुर्लभो किंचन गोचरोऽन्यै त्रैवर्गिकायास्विघातम् अस्मत् पतिर्विदत्ते पुरुषस्य शक्र ततो नुमेयो भगवत्प्रसादो यो दुर्लभो किंचन गोचरोऽन्यै पतिर्विदत्ते पुरुषस्य शक्र ततो नुमेयो भगवत्प्रसादो यो दुर्लभो किंचन गोचरोऽन्यै पतिर्विदत्ते पुरुषस्य शक्र भगवत्प्रसादो यो दुर्लभो किंचन गोचरोऽन्यै। Vaishnavis. Okay. Word to word translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Word to word. Traivargika. For the three objectives, namely religiosity, economic development, and satisfaction of the senses. Ayasa of endeavor. Vigatam, the ruin. Asmat, our. Patihi, Lord. Vidatte, performs. Purushasya, of a devotee. Shakra, O Indra. Tataha, whereby. Anumeyaha, to be inferred. Bhagavad Prasadaha, the special mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yaha, which durlabhaha, very difficult to obtain, akinchana gocharaha, within the reach of the unalloyed devotees, anyai, by others who aspire for material happiness. Translation. Our Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, forbids His devotees to endeavor uselessly for religion, economic development and sense gratification. O Indra, one can thus infer how kind the Lord is. Such mercy is obtainable only by unalloyed devotees, not by persons who aspire for material gains. Purport. There are 4 objectives in human life, namely religiosity, dharma, economic development, artha, sense gratification, kama, and liberation, moksha, from the bondage of material existence. People generally aspire for religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification, but devotee has no other desire than to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead both in this life and in the next. The special mercy for the unalloyed devotee is that the Lord saves him from hard labor to achieve the results of religion, economic development, and sense gratification. Of course, if one wants such benefits, the Lord certainly awards them. Indra, for example, although a devotee, was not much interested in release from material bondage. Instead, he desired sense gratification and a high standard of material happiness in the heavenly planets. Vritrasura, however, being an unalloyed devotee, aspired only to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Lord arranged for him to go back to Godhead after his bodily bondage was destroyed by Indra. Vritrasura requested Indra to release his thunderbolt against him as soon as possible, so that both he and Indra would benefit according to their proportionate advancement in devotion service. Hare Krishna. I seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas assembled and also online in order to speak something in the parampara, whatever I have learned from them and according to my level of realization, for the pleasure of all the Vaishnavas and the deities and for my own purification. So it's a very beautiful chapter. This whole section brings a glaring difference between pure devotion service versus mixed devotion service. Indra repeatedly, out of attachment for his heavenly pleasures, is even resorting to unhealthy or displeasing activities, like he offended Vishwarup, he killed Vishwarup, he also is going to now kill Vritrasura. He also asked the bones of Dadichi Muni. So, a devotee, when he is attached to material opulences, becomes sometimes shameless to even act so selfishly that one may ask the bones or the life of another person. So, Lord here through Vritrasura is bringing out how wonderful is the quality of a pure devotee who actually simply desires to serve the Lord. And he is saying, you kill me, please. He is actually just wanting to serve the Lord. In fact, the further discussion which happens about how is Vritrasura like this. So there Chitraketu pastime which comes where Chitraketu was cursed by Mother Parvati. So there also he accepted that curse. It's a very, very difficult curse to accept for a devotee, to become a demon and to be apparently against the devotees in the external sense of the situation. So who would like such a situation? No one can, even if there is a curse of becoming a poor person or something, but here it's like becoming demon only. Very, very tough curse, but he took it with grace that this is the will of the Lord. And then the Lord is actually now putting him in a role where he has to practically fight with Indra and tell him that I will kill you, but you kill me better. You kill me and you let me go back to Godhead. I am waiting to meet my Lord. And the further verses which come after this, the 4 verses are actually so glorious. Many acharyas, many devotees, they worship these verses, the prayers of Vritrasura in feelings of loving separation from the Lord. So here the context is that the specific verse is that Vritrasura is apparently chastising Indra, or showing his true situation, that the devotees of the Lord actually do not aspire for anything like this, and such mercy is actually attained by very rare, unalloyed devotees. But those who are aspiring for material gains cannot understand that Lord actually, if He is merciful, then He will stop the endeavors of the jiva or the devotee towards dharma, artha, kam, moksha. He becomes fixed on transcendental bhakti for him, for his pleasure. So in 2 chapters before, I think in the 9th chapter, when Indra and the Devatas got the darshan of the Lord, they asked the Lord that please help us to kill Vritrasura. That is our goal. In fact, there the Acharya's commentary shares very clearly that they say that please do not give us any pure devotion service. We know that people become mad after you and they go in ecstasy, and then we may forget the glorious, the joys of heavenly planets. But we don't want that, sir. Please give us this benediction that we can kill Vritrasura. And Lord is also Lord tells them very clearly that surely I am going to give you whatever you want, but I am not very happy. This is not what pure devotees ask for. Pure devotees are happy in pure devotion service, but you are asking for such a thing. In fact, he tells that Vritrasura is a pure devotee. He tells there that they are not going to harm you. You are only going to harm them. You only consider him enemy. He does not consider you his enemy. So like that, it's a direct instruction from Lord also there. And now here Vritrasura is telling. So repeatedly Indra is getting a very powerful association of the Supreme Lord, or the Supreme Lord's pure devotees like Dadichi and Vritrasura, and they are very directly telling that what is important to take in life, but still he is not able to catch the idea because of strong attachment to material enjoyment. So today, in trying to study the subject in this verse, we'll see the Lord has 2 types of kripa: sakapat kripa, nishkapata kripa. And the acharyas are commenting on this, acharyas and the Vaishnavas. I heard from Vaishnavas on the acharyas. So they are telling about this purushasya. I see Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that this is applicable only to ananya devotees. The Lord gives such mercy. And then the verse which is quoted by Sridhar Swami is Yasam Anugranami Harishyat Dhanam Chanai, that Lord actually withdraws the material opulence rather than giving material opulence. So we'll see something about Shiva's worshippers, Krishna's worshippers. Why does Krishna do that with the devotees? And what type of actions the Lord does when He is actually giving Nishkapata Kripa. And thus how we should see in our life what is real Kripa of the Lord or Nishkapata Kripa of the Lord. So there are 2. Jai Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maiya ki jai, Shri Shri Gaunitai ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So there are 2 types of mercies: Sakapata Kripa, Nishkapata Kripa. Here in that 9th chapter, Lord says that this is not my real mercy that I give you such a benediction, but you are asking for this, so you take it. So many places in the Bali Maharaj section also it will come. I will show that Lord will clearly say that this is not the real kripa. When the Lord gives opulences to the devotee, the real opulence is when real mercy is when he is actually bereft of opulences, so that he can actually chant the holy name of the Lord very nicely. So this is a very amazing phenomena. And in the 88th chapter, this Yasam Anugranami, 80th chapter of 10th canto, this verse comes. Yeah. So in that chapter, Parikshit Maharaj, in order to help the conditioned souls to appreciate why Lord Vishnu's worship should be done and versus Lord Shiva's, so he asked a very beautiful question, that we see a lot of worshippers of Lord Shiva getting opulences, although he remains quite, like a beggar. He does not have a home to stay. He's staying on a mountain. But his devotees get a lot of opulences. While Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, who is the Madhava, he's the Lakshmipati. His devotees are beggars. So it seems quite a contradiction. And then who will worship the Lord if such a situation is there? So please help us to resolve this problem, So there, Shukdev Goswami says, Lord Shiva is always united with his personal energy, the material nature, manifesting himself in three features. In response to the entreaties of nature's three modes, he thus embodies the threefold principles of material ego in goodness, passion, and ignorance. Okay, So basically, to paraphrase it, Lord Shiva is the husband of Mother Parvati, who is the in charge of this whole material world. So all the material opulences are under her, and he gives that. But Lord Vishnu, he says, Lord Vishnu is actually having no connection with material modes. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the all-seeing eternal witness, who is transcendental to material nature. One who worships him becomes similarly free from material modes. So if someone worships Lord Vishnu, then he will become Trigunatit. So that way, why should he get material opulence? So he will not give that. So I have once heard one lecture of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. There he was saying that he had met one very big, organization who worship Shiva, the head of that. And they very happily welcomed and had a lot of discussions with him. And there they were saying that you worship Vishnu, but you see that, all Vishnu worshippers get no opulence. But we worship Shiva. We know Vishnu is Lord, the Supreme Lord. But we worship Shiva because, that is how Shiva worship gets everything. But Vishnu worship means we will become beggars. So still you worship him. So a materialistic mindset cannot appreciate the special mercy that a devotee of the Lord gets in the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Only when one receives the mercy of a pure devotee, one can appreciate the sweetness of bhakti, which can only be tasted when one becomes akinchana gochara, when one actually is living for transcendence. But Lord actually gives it for a devotee. And the materialistic people remain surprised about it. Why? What happened to you? You were so normal. Even new boys, they become so, in a few months, they develop such very exalted principles they can talk about. Just think about even in the second year when they come to, sometimes in the voice centers, so then they are singing na dhanam na janam na sundarim. It's quite an exalted point, Like imagine the fellow has just, pre-Utkarsha and post-Utkarsha, he just jumps over to na dhanam na janam. So imagine the Lord fulfills his prayer, then what will happen? So he does not feel fearful in praying very openly, na dhanam na janam na sundarim. So it's actually the mercy of the Lord that gives bhakti, which satisfies the jiva to look for something better than all the material world. Even mukti becomes insignificant. So there, Lord says this verse, Yasyaham anugrehnami harishet tad dhanam shanai tato dhanam tyajanti asya swajana dukkha dukkhitam. Lord says, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. Very dangerous verse, One boy, when he read this verse in IIT Kharagpur when I was studying, so one of my batchmates, he took to devotional service. He got from 8-pointer, he became 10-pointer. So he immediately became, bhakti is working, Bhakti is very powerful. And next vacations he read Lilamrit. In that Prabhupada section comes where Yasam Anugranami comes. I said, Bapre, this is a very dangerous idea, And then that next semester he got a accident in the chemical laboratory. And his sister also got some accident at home. He said, Hare, this verse is working on me, So he left devotion service, Yeah. So he did not know that this applies to very exalted devotees. Chote mote logo ka apna past karma hi chal raha hota hai thoda. So, so, so here the Acharyas, Prabhupada's disciples have brought from the Acharyas very beautiful, important points they say in the purport. I'll try to. It's visible? I can make it bigger. Sorry, I did not see the Vaishnavas. Not able to see. Okay, here he says, while it is certainly true that those who practice devotion service remain in material bodies and apparently material situation for some time, this is simply an expression of inconceivable mercy of the Lord, who bestows the fruit of devotion only when it becomes pure. So, Lord is actually making the jiva go through difficult situations also, just to make him pure. In every stage of devotion, however, the Lord watches over his devotee. Hari Bol. So all the devotees can have great joy in this. In every stage of devotion, however, the Lord watches over his devotees and sees to the gradual elimination of his karma. So Bhagavan dekh raha hai, no? We don't have to worry. Lord is getting. So thus, despite the fact that the happiness and distress devotees experience resemble ordinary karmic reaction, they are in fact given by the Lord himself. So one should not think that I am under some Durga's plan or karmic reaction, astrology, all that stuff. But if the Lord is so compassionate to his devotee, why does he expose them to special suffering? This is answered by an analogy. A very affectionate father takes the responsibility of restricting his children's play and making them go to school. So we have to learn lessons. So he has to give some school of life. In the school of life, he gives lessons. But it's not so easy. One wants to simply play. So, but the Lord makes sure that the devotee goes to school. Just like a child is not very eager to go to school, he just wants to have a great time in playing. But then the father is eager to see that the person learns. Similarly, the Lord is teaching lessons. He knows that this is a genuine expression of his love for them, even if the children fail to understand. Similarly, the Supreme Lord Vishnu is mercifully strict with all his dependents, not only with immature devotees struggling to become qualified. And then he says, pure devotees also like Prahlad, Dhruva, Yudhishthira, to glorify them, the Lord does that. Then he says, although Vaishnava's happiness and distress are felt as pleasure and pain just like ordinary karmic reaction, they are different in significant sense. So, okay, how will we distinguish between a Vaishnava going through suffering and a materialistic person going through suffering? The Lord is giving, that is okay, but what is the difference? Material happiness and distress arising from karma leave a subtle residue, the seed of future entanglement. That kutam, it again comes. Such enjoyment and suffering tend towards degradation and increase the danger of falling into hellish oblivion. Happiness and distress generated from Supreme Lord's desire, however, leave no trace after their immediate purpose has been served. What is that purpose? To rectify the devotee and take him back. Moreover, the Vaishnava who enjoys such reciprocation with the Lord is in no danger of falling down into nation. So a devotee enjoys, Lord has done this for me. Like when Narad boy got a reciprocation from the Lord, mother is taken away. So Lord took her away. Not that he has to go to the astrologer, why this happened in my life. Lord has. This is the way of dragging a sincere soul closer to his lotus feet. So the Lord's action is happening. And the devotee can see this directly. That is also there in this purport. The devotee can always see that Lord is acting. Okay, it's there somewhere. So the devotee sees that, and thus he can see the merciful hand of the Lord. And the Lord is actually reciprocating. So because the Lord is reciprocating, he feels more and more touched in his heart that why Lord is doing so much for me. Indeed, they find that in the end it gives rise to unlimited pleasure, just as a stinging ointment applied by a physician's cures his patient infected eye. In addition, suffering helps protect the confidentiality of devotion service by discouraging intrusions by the faithless, and it also increases the eagerness which with the devotees call upon to the Lord to appear. So, the suffering is actually only to cure the patient, and also it protects the confidentiality of pure devotion service. So once His Radheshyam is giving a very simple example, the analogy that say a child is playing in the ground and he is playing cricket and a cock ball hits his knee and his knee gets injured very badly. And then he is an orphan, and he has not got any time mother's love. But somehow that time a nurse comes by and she sees his pathetic situation and takes him home, and then dotes him back to health. And then actually he gets back to health and she says that now you can go. But then he is feeling that I got such love which I never got. So then after going back to cricket, he wants the cock ball to hit again. So like Mother Kunti is praying, Vipada Santu Tashashvat Tatra Tatra Jagadguru. So she is asking for calamities. Here the boy is asking for cock ball to hit, not because he likes the hurt feeling, but because he wants the reciprocation of love which he gets only when he is in that situation of injury. Similarly, a devotee through suffering can actually see a closer, intimate reciprocation with the Lord, and because of that he feels even more eager to have that. So the goal is not to be suffering in this world, the goal is not to increase our suffering in the world, but the goal is to have reciprocation with the Lord for a devotee, and that he experiences more and more as he becomes a pure devotee of the Lord. So injury and all that, or any difficulty, is also positively taken. So why does the Lord do this kind of a thing with the devotee? Because the beautiful verse which also shares Akinchana Gocharam word by Mother Kunti, Janmaishwar Shruta Shebi Edamadap Madapuman Naivar Hatim Abhidhatum Vai Tam Akinchana Gocharam. So she says there that Janma Ishra Shruta Shri, these four, the high birth, education, beauty and opulences, they intoxicate the person, and because of that they cannot feelingly call out to the Lord. He is Akinchana Gocharam, only one who has nothing in his nothing material to possess. Actually for him the destination is the Lord. For him the Lord is actually accessible. So in order to call out to the Lord properly, in order to experience the real joy of pure devotion service, if the devotee is having intoxication of material opulence, then he cannot do that. It is not that Janmaishwara Shruta Shi, they are not the blessings of the Lord. They are also blessings of the Lord. Prabhupada writes in that teaching of Queen Kunti. But if they become intoxicating on the jiva, then they become a curse for the ultimate blessing of the Lord. So because of that, then the Lord may remove that so that he can experience the deeper blessing of, the ultimate blessing of experiencing love with Krishna. So in trying to do that, the Lord removes these opulences, and the devotee becomes bereft of the opulences. He gets actually like suffering from the relatives and friends who reject him, and that way he has no one to turn to but the Supreme Lord. So he becomes Akinchana by Lord's forceful purification program. So in studying the different sections where Harishyattat Dhanam Shanai is mentioned, I came to appreciate that the Lord's action in giving Nishkapata mercy also has various aspects to it. So I will just share that. So Lord purify, one of the ways the Lord helps the jiva to see that he should not enjoy material opulence is that he purifies his material desires, like Dhruv Maharaj. In Dhruv Maharaj section, Dhruva is actually asking for material desire only. He wants a greater planet than Brahmaji. But Lord fulfills that desire. At the same time, he purifies his desire. So this is one of the important things that we can see as a merciful reciprocation of the Lord. If he purifies our material aspirations, means we no more aspire for that. Although we may get it or not get it, that is a different thing. But the Lord purifies the desire of a devotee to be purely for Krishna. No? And he was sincerely lamenting for having approached the Lord with material desire. And the second mercy which we just Yasamanu Grenami, the Lord tells. So that is told in many sections. So Lord takes away the opulence. Sometimes he does not just purify and keep the opulence or give the opulence. Sometimes he takes away the opulence if that is hindrance to his devotion service. So we can see in the example of the kings being captured by Jarasandha, So there, when they were kingly people, they were having great opulences, they were enjoying the opulences, and they were intoxicated on it. But when Jarasandha captured all these kings, and for for a long time, they had been captured in the jail. So they were not being given anything to eat also properly. So they had become all emaciated, and their whole bodily energy had gone away. So now when Lord Krishna, through the arrangement of Bhima and all, they kill Jarasandha, then he liberates all these kings. And the kings are actually very beautifully offering prayers, where they say that actually you have been merciful upon us, and we have no feeling of enmity or animosity towards Jarasandha, because he has been the instrument of your mercy to give us this opportunity to become bereft of our material opulence. Material opulences were intoxicating us. Now we can see what is really mercy is to call out to you, to have loving reciprocation for you. But we were intoxicated. So a devotee of the Lord can get such special mercy of the Lord, and then by that he can become truly situated in the true substance of devotion service. So in the Bali Maharaj section also, many places this verse comes, Yasaham Anugranami, in the purports of Prabhupada. And many places Prabhupada tells how Bali Maharaj was intoxicated on his opulences, and Lord took away all the opulence by tricking him. 3 steps made all the opulences go away, and then so Lord is actually tricking him and took away all the opulence to make him free from this attachment and make him a humble devotee. So that way Bali Maharaj also got this mercy. However, the further discussion between the Lord, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur brings out very beautifully, very clearly, that actually Bali Maharaj is not intoxicated, because Bali Maharaj is, when he was removed from that, he did not become in any way bewildered. He was only feeling more and more shame that I have still not fulfilled the promise that I gave to the Lord. I have to do something for the Lord. I have not done that. When Prahlad Maharaj appears there, then he is very ashamed, and he puts his head down that I have been an offender. I am not able to fulfill the desire of the Lord. So he is fixed in his devotion. So actually what Lord is doing is the third kind of thing which Lord does in his Nishkapada Kripa is that he takes away everything from a pure devotee to show to the world that how fixed my devotee is in devotional service. So that is actually the case of Bali Maharaj. And also we see a Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj was cursed. So actually Parikshit Maharaj felt that it has happened because I was attached to kingly life. Now I can focus on Krishna consciousness. But for Parikshit Maharaj, there is no attachment. He is already fully attached to the Lord. So Lord, he is fixed on Krishna. He is fixed on Krishna. So Lord glorifies him like that. And we see Srila Prabhupada also. When Srila Prabhupada was going through his Grihastha pastimes, so that time he was thinking that he has to earn a lot of money and give to Gaudiya Math. And maybe that is the plan, that I will assist my spiritual master in the preaching mission. So he had a pharmacy, he had a factory, so many things. But everything, factory got burnt, and even the family did not cooperate. So there Prabhupada, when the factory gets burnt, he says this verse, Yasyamanu Harishyata Dhanam Shanai, that the Lord has acted for special mercy upon me. So a devotee does not get bewildered, although he is going through a distress, but he can see that this is special mercy of the Lord. And the Lord wants to show the world that see how glorious is my devotee. So I was thinking where to put first, because like Bali Maharaj is externally like that, Prabhupada also externally we may think that Lord has taken away. Because that also comes that Bali Maharaj says that actually for us, conditioned souls, he has to do like this. So in humility, the devotee feels that Lord did it because I was attached. Like Parikshit Maharaj also feels like that. So Prabhupada also feels like that, I was attached. But no one is attached, they are all, In the case of Jarasandha captured kings, it is true. But they could see the mercy of the Lord in that and then grow towards the higher platform. And the fourth thing which comes also in Bali Maharaj section very clearly, Prabhupada, no, not Prabhupada only, Shukdev Goswami says is, the Lord gives opulences to his devotee to use in his service. So that means sometimes Lord gives opulence also. So one should not think that, he is giving opulence, that means this devotee is asking for some material things now. That is why Lord has given. Like sometimes devotees say that, if someone has got a management post, that means he must be materially oriented, Actually, we don't know who is who, Every devotee can be very individually, what is his motives inside. So the Lord and the Jiva only knows, or the spiritual master can know. But the point is that the Lord knows what is best for the Jiva. Whatever is best. So we'll see something from Bali Maharaj section, because the verses there are just out of the world. Actually, I was thinking I'll read the whole chapter only, but I'll try to just keep the main parts of it. Yeah. Actually, there are two parts in Bali Maharaj section. One is 8th canto. I have taken from 24th chapter. And there is a 5th canto when Sutala Loka is described. There also very good description comes. So I would like to read something from the 5th canto first, because there one verse comes which is very relevant to, Bali Maharaj only says something, Bali Maharaj. See, here, yeah. Alas, this is 24th verse of 5th canto, 24th chapter. Alas, how pitiable it is for Indra. So this is also another section where Indra versus pure devotee is coming. So Indra has asked Vamandev to get heavenly kingdom back, and Bali Maharaj is happy in getting out, getting free from all this, and he's just thinking how to fulfill the Lord's promise to the Lord, and he is not at all concerned about his situation that he has been put to shame. Alas, how pitiable it is for Indra, the king of heaven, that although he is very learned and powerful, and although he chose Brihaspati as his prime minister to instruct him, he is completely ignorant concerning spiritual advancement. Brihaspati is also unintelligent because he did not properly instruct his disciple Indra. Lord Vamandev was standing at Indra's door, but King Indra, instead of begging him for an opportunity to render transcendental loving service, engaged him in asking me for alms to gain the 3 worlds for his sense gratification. Same kind of, Indra versus Vritrasur and Indra versus Bali Maharaj. Sovereignty over the 3 worlds is very insignificant, because whatever material opulence one may possess lasts only for an age of Manu, which is but a tiny fraction of an endless time. He can only say that, tiny fraction of a endless time. So he does not consider one Manvantar also as, one Manvantar means 71 Divya Yugas, 71 into 43,20,000 years, is insignificant fraction in the endless time. So what can we talk about our human life, which is just 70 years, Hare Krishna? There is nothing to talk about it, So he does not care a damn about it. Rather he is saying, Indra, you are so, he did not talk to Indra. Vritrasura is talking to Indra, but he is saying, Indra, what? No, he asked for it. Vamandev was standing before him, he could have asked for pure devotion service. But he still asked for that same, So, my grandfather Prahlad Maharaj is the only person who understood his own self-interest. Upon the death of Prahlad's father Hiranyakashipu, Lord Narsimhadev wanted to offer Prahlad his father's kingdom, and even wanted to grant him liberation from material bondage, but Prahlad accepted neither. Liberation and material opulence, he thought, are obstacles to devotional service, and therefore such gifts from the Supreme Personality of Godhead are not his actual mercy. So, to ask for these is not good. And now he does not say that, I am like such a great devotee, No, he says, persons like us who are still attached to material enjoyment, who are contaminated by the modes of material nature, and who lack the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot follow the supreme path of Prahlad Maharaj, the exalted devotee of the Lord. So he is thinking that I am not able to follow this glorious path of Prahlad Maharaj, but Prahlad Maharaj got real mercy. But Prabhupada clarifies there, although Bali Maharaj was actually following the path of his grandfather, because of his great humility he thought he was not. It is the characteristic of advanced Vaishnavas following the principles of bhakti they think themselves ordinary human beings. This is not artificial exhibition of humility. A Vaishnava sincerely thinks this way and therefore never admits his exalted position. So, in this, so Bali Maharaj is very beautifully in the other section, also 5th canto, 8th canto. So that whole chapter is only very glorious, but just a few verses I'll read that. So he says, although a father, mother, brother or friend may sometimes punish one as a well-wisher, they never punish their subordinate like this. Bali Maharaj is saying, Ki what you have done to me, O Lord, a father, mother and all will never do such a thing, But because you are the most worshipable Lord, I regard the punishment you have given me as most exalted. Prabhupada writes, punishment meted out by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is accepted by the devotee as the greatest mercy. A devotee knows that the so-called punishment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is only his favor to correct his devotee and bring him to the right path. So, he says, since your Lordship is indirectly the greatest well-wisher of us demons, indirectly the greatest well-wisher of us demons. See, he is not thinking you are partial to demigods and you are averse to demons. No, you are indirectly the greatest well-wisher of us also. So you act for our best welfare by posing us as if our enemy. So you pose as our enemy out of your best welfare work. Because demons like us always aspire for a position of false prestige, by chastising us, you give us the eye by which to see the right path. So, very beautiful verses actually. I'm just reading the yellow portions. What is the use of the material body which automatically leaves its owner at the end of life? And what is the use of all one's family members who are actually plunderers, taking away money that is useful for the service of the Lord in spiritual opulence? What is the use of a wife? She is the only source of increasing material conditions. And what is the use of family, home, country and community? Attachment for them merely wastes the valuable energy of one's lifetime. And then he glorifies his Prahlad Maharaj, his grandfather. He says that he actually understood what is substantial to look for. But only by providence I have been forcibly brought to your lotus feet, and all my opulences have been taken away. So when this happens, then Brahmaji turns up. He says, Hare, so much torture, this is torture only. This should not be done by the Lord. Hare, theek hai, you can take some test, but too much ho gaya, So Brahmaji comes, but immediately Vindyavali, the wife of Bali Maharaj, also turns in. And then Brahmaji takes a step back to let Vindyavali speak. And Vindyavali also says, you have done right thing only, Very good, This is what should be done, Prahlad also said this only. You did right thing only, O Lord. First Prahlad came. Prahlad Maharaj told that what you did, O Lord, is very right. You took away all the opulence, so very good. And Vindyavali turns up. She also says, imagine already Bali Maharaj is in, he has gone through so much humiliation. First he has been tricked. His spiritual master has rejected him. And now everyone is making fun of him. He has been bound by the ropes. And now he's been thrown under the cave, and he's being actually told by all the fellows that अच्छा हुआ, ऐसे ही होना चाहिए था तुम्हारे साथ, Now imagine the person actually did so much sacrifice, and he told also, Lord, put the third feet on my head. So सब कुछ, and the Vindyavali will say, he is thinking his body is his body is also belonging to you only. What he can give his body, So more and more test is coming to him, So but he is fixed. He is just fixed. And Brahmaji says, देखो इतना टेस्ट मत लो भगवान, ज़्यादा हो गया After Vindyavali, then Brahmaji steps in and says this. I'll just show that. Now this man has been sufficiently punished, for you have taken everything. Now you can release him. He does not deserve to be punished more. Bali Maharaj has already offered you everything to your Lordship. Without hesitation, he has offered land, planet, whatever else he has earned by pious activities, even his own body. Now he tells a beautiful thing. By offering even water, sir, newly grown grass or flower buds at your lotus feet, those who maintain no mental duplicity can achieve the most exalted position within the spiritual world. And this Bali Maharaj, without duplicity, has now offered everything, and he does not deserve to suffer like this, So, you are ready to be happy with Patram Pushpam Phalam to him, and this person has given 3 worlds. So Lord says, hey, but Brahmaji, wait, special mercy. Brahmanyan anugranami tadvisho vidunomyaham janmada purusha stabdo lokam mam chava manyate. So he tells, because of material opulence, a foolish person becomes dull-witted and mad. Thus he has no respect for anyone within the three worlds and defies even my authority. To such a person I show special favor by taking away all his possession. So it goes further also that actually Bali is very, very glorious. He is going to now award him. So the last one which is there, the mercy, where Lord gives everything. So Lord actually gave him a Sutal Lok which is better than, he said Vishwakarma has made it better than Indra's heavenly planet. You go there and you rule, and I will come there. I will be a doorkeeper. I will stay awake whole night also to guard your door. And in the 5th canto it comes that Ravana came to attack and Lord again used his lotus feet and he kicked him, So he kicked him and he went some thousands of miles, away, because Lord Vamandev is always guarding. One time Durvasa came, actually Dwarka was under attack. This I read in Sadhava Hidaya Mayam. There Durvasa came, Dwarka was under attack and Durvasa and some sages came to Sutalok. Please come, help us in Dwarka protection. He says, but I am a chokidar, I am doorkeeper. You have to ask my boss. So there the verse also comes like that. He says, Bhakti kritos, Paradhinosmi vipendra bhakti kritosmi nanyata baler adeshakari cha daitrenda vashago hiyam tasmat prarthe vipendra daityam vairochanam balim asya deshat karishyami यद अभीष्टम तवाधुना. तो अस्य आदेश जो उनका आदेश होगा ना वही मैं कर पाऊंगा. तो एंड ही गोज टू बलि महाराज. दुर्वासा गोज टू बलि महाराज एंड आस्क, प्लीज कैन आई टेक लॉर्ड, एंड ही सेज नो आई एम वेरी अटैच्ड टू हिम, यू कैन नॉट टेक हिम, आई एम गोइंग टू कीप हिम विद मी, so you have to go like this only. And he went like that only. And Lord also said, see, he is not allowing me. So such opulence of personal reciprocation happens between the Lord and the devotee. What can the devotees actually get the real opulence of loving reciprocation with the Lord? So, seeing the Lord's mercy in different situations. So, Prabhupada also was given all the opulences by the Lord. Prabhupada told, I was tested twice by the Lord, giving me a lot of difficulties also, and then giving so much opulence also. But the real glory is that he remained fixed in simply carrying out the mission of his spiritual master. So we have to see the real mercy of the Lord in our life. So we can see in these 4 ways as exemplified in these pastimes. First is that the Lord is purifying my material desires, expectations, aspirations, rather than fulfilling my desires. Sometimes the devotee may think, oh, by Lord's mercy I got money, I got this, I got service. Service is mercy, but one should know that am I getting intoxicated on the opulence that I am getting, or am I seeing the mercy in form of the opportunity to serve? So purifying from material desires and expectations. Second is, Lord takes away our object of attachment to step us up on the path of pure devotional service. Just like in the previous section we discussed. So we remain fixed in devotional service through all changes in the material world. Whether calamity or opulence, we remain fixed. And we don't become bewildered by the opulences which he offers us for his service, and rather use it for fulfilling the mission of the spiritual master. So these are the right mercies to aspire for, and the wrong mercy would be to get some opulences. I can become some charismatic speaker, or I can, have so many, So there can be so many material opulences. Money can come, post can come. So, Prabhu tava pada yuge mora nivedana nahi mage deha sukha vidya dhana jana nahi mage swargara moksha nahi magi nahi na kori prarthana kono vibhuti ralagi. So all these all these things are very beautifully described by Bhaktivinoda Thakur as not the aspirations of a pure devotee. So I close here and I seek any corrections of the senior Vaishnavas here. So many Vaishnavas, Sundarshan Prabhu, Vamsiyadhan Prabhu, anyone, any comment, correction? Okay. question, 3 minutes. If not, then I can Radhika Ashtakam ki jai. Okay. Yes, Prabhu. I left some time because I wanted to give some pleasure to Samarpan Prabhu.
Actually, I am very grateful for your being charitable to me. You are so blissfully situated in Krishna consciousness, and you are sharing last half an hour so wonderful pastimes from, especially Bali Maharaj, you elaborated. And actually Bali Maharaj, Parikshit and Dhruva. So I feel quite close to Dhruva because Parikshit Maharaj is will of love. Bali Maharaj is Kripa Siddha. So I feel very much close to demigods and Dhruva, where material desires are there. And demigods, you mentioned that demigods are offering prayers knowing the pure devotion, their knowledge of pure devotion, but still they are saying that, Prabhu, don't give. So actually, my case is also like that. I am aware about the highest of pure devotion, but unable to practice or aspire for pure devotion or receive pure devotion. So when it will happen? Because unless there is an experience, we cannot go to the higher experience, aspire for the higher experience. That's what demigods are saying. Right? You've taken out something, then if you take away Amravati, then we don't want that. So they know everything. So how do we solve this paradox? Because we don't have experience, but we want that. But at the same time, we want some kingdom, or some Amravati, or in my case, some post position, or some followers, or some service, where some apparently material satisfaction comes. So how do we solve this paradox? Because Bali Maharaj case you analyzed very nicely. But actually I don't know when that 5th canto, when he is speaking these things. When he is devotee already, that time he is speaking these things. Huh? So retrospect is all nice, but while going through, how we go ahead and how do we solve this paradox of not having experience? And we see that you are experiencing that, that's why you are sharing with us.
Hare
So please help.
Half a minute I'll answer something.
Please help.
So,
thank
you. From whatever I've read in the purports of Srila Prabhupada, the solace of a devotee in the sadhaka phase is that he is in touch with pure devotees of the Lord and he wants to sincerely follow their instructions. And they are very eager to award him pure devotion service. So sadhaka is aspiring for pure devotion service. Although you are in your humanity, you are saying that you are not, but in general a devotee is looking for that, and then devotee knows there are contaminations which he has to walk against. So as he stays in the associate devotees, he can see the futility of any material aspirations. You are asking this question because you are able to see that futility. Because how can someone ask the question if someone is aspiring for the real thing? So one who is aspiring for the real thing, he will only ask that how can I get over with the wrong thing, So because we are aspiring for real thing, then the pure devotees award it to the degree we develop sincerity of Krishna consciousness, then they are eager to award more and more taste of sweet devotion service, and then more and more we become bereft of any taste for pujala, pratishtha, or all the stuffs which are lower than that. So all the material world's items, they don't give any joy. One does not want to prove oneself better than others, all that stuff just goes away. One delights in service to Krishna. So it is a matter of mercy only. It is mercy that makes us happy. But we have to qualify for mercy in our humble endeavor. Our endeavor is not going to become the qualification at the end. The endeavor is only to show the pure devotee that I am trying. And whenever they show causeless mercy upon us, we will have ecstasy. So then we can see the futility more. We don't look back at that. But at least we have been able to see the futility. That is also the mercy of the pure devotees. At least we are able to see that this is not what I should look for. So that is also great mercy actually. Most of the materialists they are not able to see this. They just think that enjoy life. Who is able to say, na dhanam, na janam, na sundari? When I try to talk to some of my relatives, they say, देखो हम लोग सांसारिक लोग हैं, हमारे को ये सब नहीं समझ आता है, So they tell clearly that हम सांसारिक ही हैं, They talk about मोह माया है, ये सब उनको बहुत ही grossly पता है, लेकिन they don't really look for it actually. They don't want to get out of it. But a devotee wants to get out of it. That is his prayer. His core desire is pure. He may have subtle material desires, but his core desire is to get above it and have the sweet loving service to the Lord actually, unalloyed. So that core desire is very important. Maharaj, Parampuja Radhanath Maharaj says that one may have many material desires, but one should have a core desire to become the servant of the servant of the servant. Then if some lust attacks, then he says, I don't want this, I want that, pure devotion service. Pride attacks, no, I don't want this. So why is he able to say, I don't want this? Because he's having some experience also that this is better, this is sweeter. It may be an experience by seeing the pure devotee delight in better things. When we see the pure devotees delight in Shuddha Bhakti, then the whole matter world looks pale. So we start developing an aspiration to have that same sweetness. So that makes us get the core desire to become servant to servant. And then we can reject the material desires which come on the mental platform. And as we move that journey to act rightly towards the pure desire, not act wrongly, then seeing that right action and endeavor for the right action, the masters can one day causelessly bless us with the Shuddha Bhakti. That is sadhana bhakti. Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Keep doing action in the right direction as per the instruction of the master. So that is also pure devotion service. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sadhu.